putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, talking to you about racism. And you can feel safe. It isn't about you. It is about leftism. The people that want to destroy a man who has never, I shouldn't say never, but rarely ever been perceived in any way as being racist. Donald Trump, that is. Oh, Kevin, he wouldn't let black people in his building or something like that. That was the claim at one point. Part of a class action lawsuit against these luxury buildings where nobody wanted to let black people or derelicts into the building. And I'm not saying black people are derelicts. I'm saying he didn't want to let people, let's just break it down for you, poor people into these buildings. That was it. It was a class action lawsuit, and the Trump family, I don't know, they somehow settled. I'm not exactly sure how. But the fact of the matter is that when you build a luxury building, you want a specific type of clientele. You want to, when people, I don't know much about New York, but when the people go, well, where you live? I live on the Upper East Side. That means something. I remember when I lived in Plano, they would say East Plano or West Plano, and West Plano was the place to be. That's where all the athletes and the business moguls and people like that live. So you'd say West Plano. Oh, okay. And then you could get even more specific. Are you in Brentwood or are you in Wildwood? You know, there were different areas. And if you said, oh, I'm in Willow Bend. Oh, well, you know, that's what you're buying. And for the record, that's what you are buying. Now, you know what they're doing in New York, and I'll use them as an example. You have to have a certain amount of, in your luxury building, you have to make a certain amount of these apartments for people that can't necessarily afford them. And so the building people are saying, okay, fine. And they're putting a door that will lead up to those apartments on the side but your doorman place is only going to go through. In other words, everybody doesn't enter through the doorman. And so even when they try to segregate it and make these people do these things, the capitalists get around it because they're going, look, I didn't build this building so I could have some dude who looks like he's a homeless person walking through the front and getting doorman service or hobnobbing with these other folks. Now, the argument on the left is, well, you have to let these people see the other side. And I agree. I saw the other side. My family worked for a wealthy family. You see, the problem with the left is they say, no, we're going to force you to integrate with these wealthy people. That builds resentment. But my grandparents worked for a wealthy family who then said, you know what? I like your work ethic. Let's meet your family. They met, me and my brother and I, and said, we like these kids. Let's do something for them. They volunteered to do something for us. This wealthy white Republican family said, you know what? They're more than servants to us. They are part of our family. And they sent my brother and I to military school and did much more for us. We traveled with them and a bunch of other things. So all I'm getting at here, folks, is you're looking at the way that the left tries to do things is always through separation and creating some sort of animosity and angst and you name it. And so what are they doing now? Confederate monuments. Homages to the ancestors of people who were part of this country. These are American citizens. They may have revolted, but that's our history. So Robert E. Lee is under attack. And by the way, there were many of these so-called Confederate generals who fought for the South, but who in no way condoned slavery. When it was over, they were right there along with blacks, slugging out. It was a very small group of people. Let's just call them what they are. Elitist white Democrats who wanted to keep slavery because of our, we having an agrarian society. They wanted free labor to tend their crops. If you lived in, this is Georgia, southern Georgia, where the humidity is in the summer, it's 95 degrees with 80% relative humidity. Trust me, you don't want to pick that cotton. So you wanted slaves. I was talking to some kid the other day. I won't say who because he's a pretty famous kid. And I asked him, do you want a slave? And he kind of looked at me. I said, look, I'll just go ahead and admit it. I want a slave. I'd like a lot of them. I have things to get done that I don't want to do. It isn't that I can't do them. It's that I don't have time. How many things in your life do you not have time to get to that you love to have somebody who was at your beck and call, who had to do it? I would. Now, we've modified slavery in the form of volunteerism. A volunteer is of his or her own free will. But trust me, when you get a volunteer is in an organization or something, you're excited. That's somebody willing to work for free. And hopefully, if they're good at what they do, they're going to lighten your caseload. Are you kidding? Give me as many volunteers, good ones. I don't want a bunch of them I got to train and all that, but give me as many volunteers as you can. That is the one step removed from slavery. What are you talking about? Interns. Now you may have to pay them, or you can't pay an intern. I forget which. We tried to get some. But are you kidding me? Give me people that are eager to learn and can be good at what they do. I will put them on my payroll or on my non-payroll as a slave. And so there's nobody that doesn't want that. And if you're lying, if you say you don't, if you are a parent and you say to me, God, I wish I never want anybody to help take care of my children. I never want anyone to help me clean the house. I never want anyone to help me run errands. You're lying. There's only so much you can do. How more effective could you be if you could get somebody that did nothing except organize your home? You know exactly where things are I have 2 or 3 of everything sitting around somewhere, and you know what we'll do? We'll go buy something else. It's crazy. Because we'll be like, oh, I can't find that other thing that we have 3 or 4 of. So we run over to Home Depot and get another one. I mean, my slave would have everything ordered. No, don't go there now, Master Jackson. We got it over here. Okay, thank you, Moses. Is Martha cooking? I'll take one in a minute. And so, but we've demonized this idea. Don't misunderstand me. I don't want to force anybody to do anything, but I'm saying I get it. Slavery was bad, but don't act like you don't like it. Don't act like you don't want it. You'd be crazy not to. And I'm not talking about beating them and being able to go and, leave the big house and go down there and have sex with your slaves and things like that. But believe it or not, that exists today. It exists in bigger numbers today than it did in the time of America. Yeah, people, what are you talking about, Kevin? Yes, there's more slavery today. People working for no money, people who are sex slaves that you will never hear about. Mostly, believe it or not, in Arab countries. And here we are talking about Confederate monuments. Ask any black person. So is slavery, when you passed by that monument before, and before you even knew who it was, because most of the people that passed by these monuments couldn't name the person on it, haven't gone up even to read it. But suddenly somebody got them incensed. Do you know that's a statue of Robert E. Lee? Oh my gosh. As if Robert E. Lee can come off that horse and beat you up or take that horse and trample you. Black people walk by whatever statues they want to come down right now. They walked by them dozens, if not hundreds of times. Maybe thousands they passed by them if they drove to work or whatever. Didn't have a care in the world. And some white leftist goes, you need to care. Why? You need to care about the Confederate flag. It could beat you, or it could do something crazy. It could smother you in your car. I'm not afraid of the Confederate flag or any Confederate people or whatever. And I said before, guys, that is nothing more than an homage to you getting your butt kicked trying to keep my people in slavery. And as much as I credit the Union, the Union Army, I credit God for that. God rectifies situations like that. God looked down on that and said, nobody should be a slave. You want to volunteer? That's one thing. Nobody should be a slave, because that's too enticing. That would easily be the haves and the have-nots. And that, my folks, my friends, is leftist ideology, the haves and the have-nots. And there's nobody trying to make you a have-not quicker than a leftist. Look at their policies. They want your kids stupid. They want you stupid. And they want to be able to come get your money whenever they want. And that's what a slave is. A slave is somebody. We are in the midst of slavery, and to such a degree it's ridiculous. I mean, you work your whole life, and you pay your taxes. I think August 19th is the day your taxes are paid. You're a slave. You don't even know it. But anyway, Robert E. Lee, they don't want you to go remembering these old Confederates because we have new icons, folks. We have people like Michael Brown Jr. And I'm going to make you a bet. Soon, there will be people wanting the MLK statue to come down. It won't represent what it represents today. You guys think I'm crazy. But here's the good news. Eventually, Democrats will get around to cleansing themselves. Because as they keep this spiral going, you're going to start getting these icons like FDR and LBJ and others.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.